So it seems there's a Texas Democrat who has a problem with kids being sent to private school, but yet they say he sent his own kids to private school. So let's get into this real quick. This is from foxnews.com and it reads Texas Democrat who sent his kids to private school criticizes parents who do the same. Quote, how do we tell people we're going to take your money and give it to rich people so they can send their kids to private school? You know what? Matter of fact, let's hear from his own words real quick and then we'll get into the story.
How do we tell people we're going to take your money and give it to rich people so they can send their kids to private school, so they don't have their kids with your kids?
Now, I understand his first part about giving money to billionaires so they can go to private school. Because billionaires really don't need shouldn't need money to send their kids to private school. Matter of fact, they got the money. They're the reason why these private schools are in existence. I've told the story before. My oldest daughter went to a private school her last 2 years of high school. Okay, got in or got let me say I say got in, but was recruited because of her softball skills. I'm just gonna say it. She was a beast out there on the field. Left-handed pitcher, hit a 600. No right, no not right. You know what I'm saying? First baseman pitcher hit 600. I mean, good lord, she was a beast out there on the field. Okay, I recall going to the school to for like a tour, talk to the coach really, and he was talking about how great the school was, a curriculum, this, that, and the third. So it was a brother, what I'm saying, I ain't gonna say he was married to, but he wasn't married to a sister, but talked about, big up the school, did a whole tour, everything. I was cool with it. Now at the time I was shoot, I know was in nursing school. I think I was in nursing school. Or trying to get into nursing school, but I was making shoot, maybe $12 an hour, one bedroom apartment, trying to make it, right? So did this whole tour and then sat down and he's like getting ready for told me that my daughter had to test and I don't know if remember my daughter's pretty smart. You know what I'm saying? She's one of them A B honor roll, high level classes, whatever the case may be. She was the type of kid. uh Toward the end of the tour, the interview, I asked him, okay, now how much is it gonna cost me? So he stood up, give it, shake my hand, said, how much is it gonna cost? And he just sat back down. He said, hey, this is gonna be, and I'm just gonna tell you, this is gonna be like 20,000 semester. I'm like, what? He said, but look, and this is like late, like they had already did their enrollments, getting ready to start school. This was like late in the summer, what have you. And so it was like, um, I didn't think she was gonna be able to get in. But anyway, he's like, it's gonna be 20,000 a year. But you know what I'm saying? I'm sure we can find scholarship money and this, that, and the third. But first thing you gotta do, because we had to do like backwards. So first thing we do, we'll get it tested. So see if she can test in, and then we'll, what I'm saying, we'll do that. We'll worry about the money later. Okay, test it, pass the test, what have you. Fill out the little application, financial aid, all that kind of stuff. Came back, letter came to the house, man. They had found 90% of the money for her to go every year. 90% of the tuition paid. This is high school now. 90% of tuition paid. I'm like, what? All I had to do was come up with what? What's that? 200. What was I say? What I said? 20,000. So maybe like $2,000 over the 2 years or whatever, or over the year, whatever. It's like crazy, man. I can't remember back then. It was so long ago, but still, I recall that whole incident for the most part. But anyway, yeah, they had the money. These people had money. I'm talking about they did a drawing, right? A raffle. And they wasn't raffling off tickets to, for like little gift baskets or clothes. These folks was raffling off tickets like $25, $50 a piece, I think, for a brand new Mercedes Benz. This is the type of people that you matter of fact, I remember this is when Deion Sanders had his high school and his team played against the team of this school, early on. What was it called? Prime Prep. And he was playing, Prime Prep. And they played against Prime Prep and they pretty much just demolished Prime Prep. But they were just getting started. But anyway, Yeah, back then. I remember they was talking about when they on the screen on the scoreboard at the football game, they would announce how much money had been pledged through their little donation drive and stuff like that. And we were talking, and them son guns said it was like $10 million within a matter of weeks. They've raised $10 million. This is the money. This is what we talking about when you're talking about money. When these cats out in the hood, cats going to public schools, cats even going to maybe even these middle class, upper middle class high schools, and they think they got money because they wearing like True Religion jeans that are like $300 and a third. I'm talking about kids to where they kid get on punishment, so they take his car and he has to drive a family car, and the family car is a Porsche Cayenne, and I'm driving a 2004 Impala SS, barely running, no heat, no air, working my butt out trying to get to where I'm at right now and beyond. This is what we're talking about. So I understand his part about talking about giving money to billionaires so they can go to private school. That's a no-no. But the part about uh going to school because they don't want to go to school with your kids, I get that. I get that. Me personally, I can say I get that. And I'll tell you why. Matter of fact, hold on, but let's go back to this Fox story first. Go back to the news story first, and then we'll finish that. So it says Texas Democrat Gene Wu said in a video posted to X on Monday that parents send their kids to private school so they don't have to have their kids with your kids. Even though a previous social media post from him indicated he also chose private school for his children. How do we tell people we're going to take your money and give it to the rich, give it to rich people so they can send their kids to private school so they don't have to have their kids with your kids? Wu told the crowd on Monday during a demonstration against a proposed school choice bill. On January 24, 2025, Texas State Senator Brandon Creighton filed Senate Bill 2, the Texas Education Freedom Act, which would give students universal access to school choice and provide at least $2,000 each year to students' education savings account. If a family decided to enroll their child in a private school, each student will receive $10,000 per year. Like I said, the school I'm talking about, my daughter went to like 20,000, and yeah, it's like 20,000 a year, and yeah, that was maybe 8 years ago, 8 9 years ago. And students with a disability enrolled in the private school will receive 11,500 per year. A similar version of the bill reportedly failed 3 times in 2023. Wu, who is the chair of the Texas House Democratic Caucus, has previously spoken out against school choice, saying it was a giveaway to Republican donors. In a series of posts on social media on May 22nd, Wu revealed that he attended a private school and that he had sent his own kids to private school. I went to a private quote, I went to a private school for high school. My family would have loved to have money, had that money back, but they didn't need it. I would have loved to get $12,000 state money for my kids in private school, but that doesn't seem fair in the least bit, he wrote at the time. What did it say when we Gene, let's see what he wrote here. He said when we've discussed vouchers in the past, a compromise offer was that the subsidy would be limited to low income families and exclude families like mine that can already afford it. So see, Fox tried to spin this narrative that talking about kids going to private school, but he went to private school and his kids went to private school. The point about I feel that he's right. Like I say, rich folk don't need money to really need money to go to private school. You need to give to people who can't afford it, but should be able to afford the opportunity to go to a private school where the education is better. Because again, because it's not always intended as a tax break for the donor class, it was designed to benefit the wealthy who donate to Republican campaigns. In the effort to not make it a windfall is automatic no go. He continued the argument that the universal school choice in the form of vouchers was a scam and would be only to the benefit of billionaire mega donors. Greg Abbott is putting his billionaire mega donors over Texas students. Every dollar spent on his billionaire voucher scam is a dollar taken from our classroom. The governor should fully fund our neighborhood schools, not defund them with a private school voucher scam, he wrote. Let me tell you what's wrong with this. Is that it? Yeah, that's it for that. So let me tell you what's wrong, first of all, with the school system. The school system, the public school system is atrocious, which is probably one reason why Donald Trump is trying to get rid of it. Again, You can get mad at what he said, but the problem is you have to try to fix your problem and not complain about it all the time. Just fix it. Because if you continue to complain, waiting for somebody else to do it, waiting for the people who put you in that position to fix the situation, they're going to fix it to their benefit and not yours. And then you're going to complain about that, but they're going to be like, well, hey, you want us to fix it? Here's how we're going to do it. And you can't get upset because you could have done something yourself. Like, Marlon, what could we have done? Homeschool. We ain't got time to homeschool. How you know? Did you research it? From what I read, you don't need like maybe a couple hours a day to homeschool. And you're not teaching every subject, the same subject every day like they at school. Just need like a few hours a day. If you can't do it, I'm sure somebody in your neighborhood can do it. They got programs. Yeah, you can do online programs, in-house programs, homeschool. Okay, say you don't want to homeschool. Teach your kids how to read and write and do math at a young age. So when they get in the class, they won't be stuck in the classrooms with the quote unquote, I don't even want to say regular kids, but the kids who aren't up to par. You got children out here who can't read on their grade level. High schoolers who can't read, high schoolers who quote unquote getting ready to graduate, but then come to find they've been going to school 4 years and come to find that they only got like 2 credits. This is the public education system. So when I sit here and pay taxes, now I went to private and public school growing up. Private school when I was younger, which I think is a smart thing. If you can get a child the most education possible, the best education possible, you definitely want to do it the younger they are, when their brain is still developing and they, growing, because that's what the brain is for. It's like a sponge. You're supposed to take in all the information and learn from it, grow from it, or what have you, and then build on it when you get older. Like I said, I think it's the best thing. I went to private school at a young age. I tell y'all, when I went to public school, all that work we were doing in public school, and it was supposed to be like it was like a, what do you call it? Not a Montessori. It's like a magnet school at the time, like one of the few magnet schools in the country at the time. And uh, work was easy for me. In elementary stuff like that, junior high, that work was easy for me but to the detriment, to the point where I kind of got lazy there for a minute and slacked on doing work because it was too easy. But then I had to like kind of pick it back up later on and get the job done. But I feel there's nothing wrong with, like I say, going to public school. I mean, private school. Nothing wrong with sending your kids to public school. If he's talking about, what did he say? Let me get his exact words right quick. I don't want to. Okay. How do we tell people we're going to take your money and give it to rich people? Like I say, rich people don't need the money, so they can send their kids to private school, so they don't have to have their kids with your kids. And I mean, truthfully, like I said, I can understand that, and I'm not even rich, but I understand that because I was a parent that made sure my kids read every day, made sure that they did their homework every day, and then looked over the work for the next day. I made sure that they did, math problems and knew how to solve. When they asked me a question, I tell them go look it up. Um, Especially they ask me what the word means, I tell them go look it up, write the definition down, and then bring it back to me and read it to me. I did that. I would have my kids when they would, get on punishment or what have you, read, not just write lines or I will not do this and I will not do that. No, no, no. Not just in the room not doing nothing. No, we're gonna be productive. Get a person at the table, read this Wall Street Journal article or read this Dallas Morning News article and give me a summary of it. I would do that. And it worked out to the point to where it benefited them growing up, to where the older they get, they understand. My oldest child, that I seen her tell somebody that, hey, my dad used to make us look up stuff whenever we had a question. Man, just look it up and bring it to him, write it and bring it to him and tell him what we found. Now I found myself doing it just to be doing it, because anytime I have a question, just look it up because the information is out there. Like I say, these are things that I did. Daughter would go to school, youngest daughter would go to school. We have parent conference and the teacher say, man, that teacher last year, she was had a good teacher last year because your daughter can read like on a fifth, sixth grade level and the math skills and this, that, and the third, blah, blah, blah. And I'm sitting there thinking, not teaching it. And we was in the suburbs. My kids went to a pretty fairly decent school. Taxes that I was paying. And I'm like, no, it wasn't the teacher. It was me making sure they did this during the summertime. Keep their mind going in the summertime all the time because they weren't going to sit around and just do nothing. I did that. So I do understand when I remember hell being in third grade and the teacher had me try to help teach another kid in the third grade how to read with flashcards. So, like I say, I understand the point of talking about they don't have to have their kids with your kids because now, if your kids are, what I'm saying, going to school, learning, getting good grades, doing what they supposed to do, being productive, not being a troublemaker in school or in society, then your kids he's talking about ain't your kids. It's their kids. But if your kids is the one in there that can't read, can't write, can't do math on a grade level, ain't trying to learn, goofing off in class, just in the third, after trying to rap and twerk and all this kind of stuff and doing things that ain't got nothing to do with schooling, your kids is the one he's talking about. And your kids are the ones that my kids shouldn't be in the same class with because the teacher is has to dumb down a lesson and wait and do things where your kids can understand and wait for them to catch up because you didn't take the time out to teach your kids in the summertime. When I grew up, we also had we had what Sesame Street, Mister Rogers, Reading Rainbow, stuff like that. So and we only had like a couple of channels. So if you weren't watching that, you was watching stories. And mom and grandma weren't about to let us watch no stories with them in the daytime. So you watching PBS, KERA in Dallas, Channel 13. That's what you watching. And you might have cartoons come on in the morning. And a lot of times the cartoons had lessons too. So some teaching there. So the stuff they watch now, you just gotta monitor. It's still out there. You just gotta, be a parent and put a monitor on the phone and put a monitor on the TV and limit what they watch and control what they watch. As simple as that, and make sure they learning something all the time. Grandbabies come over here before they can turn on TV, do anything. They in the kitchen doing some math work. That's just what we got going on here because can't have some kids. No, can't raise, can't be part of, can't be associated with no dumb children. Just can't do it. And so we're just gonna make sure they smart and they can learn. They got bright minds. We're just gonna make sure that it stays above and beyond because it's a lot of competition out there. A lot of competition out there to get in these schools, get these jobs, these careers. And if you just on the level or below the level, and why? So that's the thing about the school voucher is when the majority of the kids in public school is not learning, why would you send them to a private school? Why would you think that they would be able to go to a private school? So now you're trying to take private school, which is not public funded, and you're trying to dumb them down. You think that's fair for them? But like I said about my daughter, these kids, they also got to test in. So if they can't read on their grade level, you really ain't worried about them going to a private school. So who could be able to go to a private school and test in and get that money? Like I said, rich folk. Rich folk, because they're making sure their kids learn and know, what I'm saying? And I ain't saying there's not a lot of, and see, think about this real quick and we'll end it. If there are a lot of kids who can't read, are not educated at their grade level, but all these kids try to apply to go to a private school, the majority of the kids will not be able to get into the private school. But those who can get into private school are the ones who test in and excel in the test. You know what that does to the public school system? It makes it worse. It'll cause the feds to take funding from them schools because all the kids who are trying to learn, who are learning, who are excelling in learning, and public school is holding them back, they moved on to the private school. This is the same quote unquote issue that people in the hood tell, black folk in the hood get mad when a brother and sister make it and move out the hood. And then the first thing they say is, "Oh, you too good for us and you can't hang with us," nothing like that. Well, when you take pride in what you do, you take pride in your education, you take pride in your career, you take pride in living, you see what everything is about. You see what the world is about, see what the neighborhood's about, and you ask yourself, do you want to be part of that? And a lot of people don't. A lot of people don't. I will say, like I say, I don't want to live in apartments. I don't want to live in the hood. Just don't want to. People who live there will tell you they don't want to. Like for real. I mean, they can be hard and say, "Oh, this is what made me." This and that. Yeah, that's what made me too. But I'm not there no more. You know what I'm saying? Worked a lot. I'm got older, wiser. All I want to do, like I said, I don't want to come home. I want to minimize my chances of coming home and it being broken into. Catalytic converter getting stolen in the front yard. Car getting stolen out the front yard. Somebody riding up and down the street with 212s in the trunk banging. You know what I'm saying? Uh, Kids hanging out in the neighborhood, just acting a fool, drinking, smoking, making rap videos about their house. Only kids I want to see outside is flying kites, playing basketball in the neighborhood, playing football on the street, and maybe popping fireworks on 4th of July and New Year's. That's it. And seeing, playing football at the local high school. That's all. I don't want to see them doing anything detrimental to my neighborhood, bringing the property down. Just don't. So that's just my take on it. I don't know how you feel about that. But yeah, dude, I can understand. Like I say, Fox tried to spin this narrative about him saying that, he put his kids in private school, and he clearly said that he had to pay for his kids, and the parents had to pay for him to go to school. That's all. He said he would love to have been able probably to be able to get money from the government to send kids to private school. But that whole not have that kids with your kids, dude, that's the reason why you sent your kids to private school. Because if not, you would have them public school. But anyway, tell me what you think about this story. Leave your comments below. Share it with the world. Have an intelligent conversation. You know how we do it around here. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Those 4 things cost you nothing but maybe a couple of minutes out your day, but it means the world to us here. If you like to support the channel financially, you can give super thanks, super chat, super stickers, and you can go to the description box where there are a couple of links there you can click on and help support us that way. Hey, and don't forget to hit that shop button and go to marlonmorale.com where we got products that I know you will love. We got, like I say, colognes, perfume, silks, beard products, handbags. We got the work. Just check them out. I promise you will not be disappointed. And with that being said, I'll leave you in peace, and I'll see you on the other side.